If you're moving to Charleston and you're considering Johns Island, then this video is for you. We're gonna go through a map video today. We're gonna go all through Johns Island. We're gonna look at subdivisions, traffic points, restaurants. I hope this is informative for you. Let's get right into it. So this here is Johns Island. This is Johns Island. And the actual island itself is broken up by the Stono River here. And it loops around and it's Kiowa River, Stono, there. That's Johns Island. We have Wadmalaw Island down here, and we have Seabrook Island and Kiowa Island down here. But this whole area is Johns. You can see its location very close to downtown Charleston here. We have access to Folly Beach, and we have access to the Beachwalker Park public beach down here. If we zoom out on a map, you can see that it's pretty much just south of Charleston, even though it looks kind of west on the map the closer we get. But Johns Island is south of Charleston here. A lot of people are moving out here. They're doing it because the homes are still relatively affordable to be close to Charleston, but they have lots of nice subdivisions, lots of nice amenities, and you have access to some of the beaches down at Beachwalker Park and Folly, like I said, but without paying like James Island prices, basically. But a lot of people are moving out there. There's a lot of new construction out there. That also brings traffic. So one of the first things I want to talk to you guys about are actually the ways to get onto Johns Island. So this is one way and this is the other. Those are the only two ways to get onto Johns Island. And with that comes traffic. So when we drop our pin over here on the Maybank Highway, we can see what our drive looks like here. Here's James Island here. We're leaving James Island and we're driving out onto Johns Island. So it's a two-lane south, two-lane north road that moves over from north to south from James to John. Great view coming over here. And you've got some subdivisions here that start up. So we hit our first stoplight here coming out of John. I always get turned around here. I'm on the other side of the road. Here's a stoplight. They installed this stoplight because there were so many people and homes being built in here. They were having trouble taking a left and going towards Charleston because all of this traffic, they would just never be able to get out. So they brought a stoplight in here, and it helps these people that are, that are living down in this area. A lot of townhomes and condos and things like that being built up here. As we move down, we get closer to the shopping complex. There is a food line here, and that is pretty much your main shopping complex when you get to Johns Island. And we're not going to drive on the map the whole time. I'm just trying to get down here and show you guys a little bit of what it actually looks like to make the drive out here. So you can see we're approaching the stoplight. You can see the traffic is starting to pick up here a little bit. And we actually have a lot of headlights on. I'm assuming this is probably early morning. So traffic going out to Charleston, you can kind of see the traffic here. Going out, heading into town. Maybe they're working in North Charleston or Somerville or something. But they're heading to work in the morning. But the main area here, when you get to the end of this road and River Road, is where we've got the shopping center here. This is the Food Line Shopping Center. And you've got your River Road intersection here. So once you come down Maybank Highway and you get to this point here, you can take a left to go down River Road or right to go down River Road, or you can continue straight to go through. But this is where a lot of traffic is in the afternoon and in the morning. And I'll kind of zoom out again and just show you guys. I think you can get a good shot of the traffic leaving. You can see it all, right? This is all going down to that stoplight. And we're getting that because there's only, two ways on and off, right? So we were just right here. Oop, Circle K. We were just right here in the Food Line shopping area coming in down Maybank Highway. That's where we were. If you want to see what it looks like in the Food Line, it's pretty standard shopping center, right? It's nothing special, a couple stores over here, and then we've got the main Food Line store here. It's pretty much what you're going to be shopping for on Johns Island. They're talking about building things here. They've been talking about building things there for years. The Harris Teeter, another brand new shopping complex. They just haven't got it. So that's your first area. This is probably the most people, a lot of people drive this area to get into town and things like that. But a lot of people are going this way too because they're living here. When we look at some of the homes, let me show you the map here. The map of the properties that we're going to be looking at. Oop, the map, you can see them all up here, right? So when we come back to this in a little bit, we'll look at some homes. They're all in this area. Why are people living there? Well, you've got easy access into town. You have a lot of restaurants and things over in here as well. Plus, you've got some of the schools down on this side of John's in that area. So when you're coming in, there's a couple of restaurants I want to talk to you about. First one is Wild Olive. Wild Olive is an amazing Italian restaurant. So there's no shortage of good food on John's Island, even though you're not in downtown Charleston. You don't have to be in downtown to get good food. The next thing right next door, Low Tide Brewing. Now this brewery is actually accessible by some of the subdivisions here. You can see they're doing yoga. There's the inside of the brewery. It's a great spot. And then outside too, dog friendly, kid friendly. They have food trucks there, things like that. So you've got Low Tide Brewing over here. Royal Turn is a great spot, and Tattooed Moose. Tattooed Moose is definitely a fun little bar spot. They have great food, great barbecue. I mean, just look at that food, right? This is pretty much what life is like on John's Island. You have a little bit of traffic, a little bit of beers, good food, and beaches. And this is why a lot of people are moving over here. They're building all of these subdivisions. We can zoom in and see a lot of subdivisions here being built up. Everything being built up in here. Subdivision, subdivision, subdivision. New home, new home, new home. They're all around this food area. They're all around the Maybank Highway, access into town, right? The other access point into John's Island is over here. I'll go back to this map. It's over in this area. This is it, down this road. I'll zoom out so you can see it. This is bringing you to 17, which would bring you to 526. So if you're going to live on John's Island and you work in North Charleston, you probably don't want to go this way, to go up this way, to go up this way, to go this way. You'd probably be living over here and go this way. Just traffic reasons and things like that. But I mean, you could theoretically do that. It just might take you a little longer. But if you're going up here, you're accessing 526 and you're living in this area. But this is the other area of traffic. And I want to drop a pin here and just show you guys what it looks like. So here's another intersection here. You do have shopping over here. There's a big shopping center here, and there's a lot of shopping down here. But guys, look at the amount of traffic. There is this lane is the only lane that turns left to bring you to John's. There's two other lanes that go straight and another lane that goes right over here that brings you down Beast Ferry into West Ashley. The amount of traffic in this area is a lot. You can see all of this traffic. Everyone's getting in the left lane to go to John's Island. And we'll kind of drive down a little bit. I'll drop a pin down here just so you can kind of see what we're looking at here. And traffic broke up in this side and traffic starts back down over here. But that's pretty much the way the traffic is. You can see the traffic starting with stoplights down over there. Didn't look too bad at that point, but when you're driving to John's Island, we'll pop on this side again. Oh, we dropped in the, yeah, okay, here we are. So here's your lane. Your left turn lane is right here, and you're going to John's this way, okay? And you can see the amount of cars that are getting in line to start going into that left lane. And it can take a while. So you have traffic points. You've got traffic point there. You've got traffic point over here on River Road that brings you down to these subdivisions as well. So one of the cons of living on John's Island is the fact that you only have 1 and 2 ways to get off of it. And with the amount of homes being built, you have a lot of traffic. Now, in regards to activities and beaches, there are boat ramps here on John's Island. Actually, there's one right back over here. So the John P. Limehouse Boat Landing is right here. So this is a boat launch, public boat launch. Anyone can go in and drop their boat here. You get a good view of what it looks like from above. It's a boat landing. So if you want to go drop a boat here, you can. Actually, a lot of people end up going down here along the Stono to some sandbars over here, and they just hang out in sandbars in this area. A lot of people do that. It's a very common thing to do. So you can drop your boat over here. There's a lot of subdivisions that offer boat access, and we'll take a look at that. But the price points to actually get a house on the water, you're pretty much going to be starting in like the $2 million range to get a house with a dock. Yeah, maybe you can get something like 1.7. It's a little smaller, but that's kind of the reality of it. So a lot of people living here. We'll get into that in a minute. You do have an executive airport down here. So a private airfield over here. You can learn to fly if you want to, but unless you're flying in private, this is the only access to flying in and out of John's Island. But the main airport obviously is up over here. So if you needed to access, the airport, you could. It's right here. Johns Island's still pretty centralized to the airport and things in the area of Charleston. In regards to beaches and things like that, and another shopping area I'll show you, but beaches, you're going to be either down here over at Beachwalker Park on Kiowa. This is a public beach down here. Beautiful beach. It's dog friendly, so you can bring the doggos down here, bring them out on the beach and have a good time. There he is. That's one option. There's some parking, not the most parking, but there is parking down here. Your other option besides that is going to be Folly over here. So you're either driving to Folly or you're driving down to Beachwalker Park. Honestly, if you're going to do it, Beachwalker's nice, but I really like Folly Beach. We've got the view of the Folly Beach Pier over here. So this is all rebuilt recently. This is actually, I think it's the old pier from what I can see. This is the older pier, but you've got Folly Beach over here. It's a very beautiful spot. And I like the little town here as well. So if you're going to go beach area or something like that, this is downtown Folly Beach, right? All types of shops, all types of little bars. The beach is right at the end of the road over here. So those are your beach options. If you were sticking on Johns Island for beach, I would be looking at going down to Beachwalker Park. It's pretty much the only thing you can do. Now, if you wanted a different food option, you have Freshfields Village. So Freshfields Village has a Harris Teeter down here, and it's pretty much like its own little little town, right? So you get this whole little town down here. It's pretty nice actually. And if we drop a pin, you can kind of see what I'm talking about when you're driving through this area here. You got a whole little town. So they do music, they do events, they do markets and things like that. So you could come down here and bring the kids or whatever, or just go out and get dinner, go shopping. What do we have here? Southern Tide shopping, right? So they got good things over here. So you can make the trip down there if you'd like. You can go access Seabrook. You just have to pay. You have to pay to get into these areas. It's all gated communities. This is a luxury community, ultra luxury community, right? In Kiowa. So back up to Johns here, the main area of Johns Island. Let's pull up a few homes. I want to show you what you can get out there. So here's an example of a $525,000 house that you could buy, right? Pretty standard, nothing crazy here, but a standard house. There's no amenities here. You got a little bit of a park. I don't even know if I'd show that in the photo. There's not much there. Look at the yard space, not much here. But you know what we'll do? We'll drop a pin and I'll just show you what it actually looks like from the road. Drop this down here so you can see what the community looks like. And it's a nice little community, right? So it's very pleasant. This is a standard, community. These homes are about $500,000. Oh, here's one for sale 10 years ago, whatever. But this is the way the community looks, okay? Super cute, kind of cookie cutter. Decent community. Super safe, nothing crazy. 2,000 square feet, $525. But that is the cottages of Johns Island, and that is in this area over here. So again, you can see all the homes sort of in this area. Another one for $598 in Johns Island. Another nice community. No amenities though, but you get a feeling for what the community looks like, right? Bunch of little homes here, kind of stacked together. This is the gardens at Whitney Lake. And now Whitney Lake itself offers a lot of this is all Whitney Lake over here. So if you're going to buy on in this area, so if we went to back over, you can kind of see what's going on. This is where we were just looking. They were over here in the gardens. But Whitney Lake itself, get a feel for what the community looks like here. This is what it looks like. Okay, big community all along the lake. You can buy some lake homes here. Beautiful homes that overlook the lake, and you can live this lifestyle. So that house, $598. If you wanted to get into something that had a little bit more, actual amenities, you might be looking in now in the mid 6s or the 7s. This house on the market is a big house, by the way. It's like 3,000 square feet, and it's on the market for $725. But what does it have? It has amenities. Okay, it's got a pool. You're on the lake here, so you do have that amenity there. And again, you can kind of see where it is, right, in that same area where everyone else is buying right now. I want to show you, Oakfield is great, and I'll just show you what Oakfield actually, this house is nice on the little lake. Oakfield's amenities are great. So these are great for kids. They got a pool here. There's a little putting green. There's a bocce court. There's cornhole, right? A really nice subdivision located on Johns. And then you've got some communities down here. Kiowa River Estates is a nice community. This has golf, a golf course, and pickleball courts, tennis courts, pool. Here's your golf course. This is located a little bit farther south. Now this house is $875 and 1,800 square feet. You're paying for that golf course, that the close to the beaches, like that's what you're getting. So, but there's all different types of communities here. Sea Island Preserve is going to give you more space. If you don't want to live right on top of somebody, Sea Island Preserve gives you the amenities here, nice amenities, and look at all the space these homes have. They're spaced out. They have a bigger backyards. There's a big backyard down over here. So you do have that option to buy something that has a little bit more privacy, nice backyard, that type of thing, but also has the amenities, but you're looking at a higher price point. Once you start getting above $1 million, you can start to get in some really nice houses and nice areas. Headquarters Plantation is a great spot because of its location. Look at how close we are to the Maybank Highway. And if we actually look through these photos, they make it very clear how good your location is, right? It is right off the Johns Island connector. So if you buy in this area, you don't have to deal with that traffic going into Johns Island after work, but it's going to cost you $1.4 million to move in there. But it's a beautiful house, and you can see, I'll show you some of the quality. What are we getting for 1.4? Pretty standard kitchen. I like the floors, but it's a large house in a nice area. The great little view there, and you're close to downtown Charleston. Once you start moving out farther south, like I would personally, if you don't have to live next to town, man, Kiowa River is a beautiful community. And for the price point, 1.5 to be at 3,000 square feet, this community is absolutely beautiful. So when you're actually making your way in, this is the road. You're driving all through farmlands. It's absolutely beautiful to get in here. So you're going through farms, and you can make your way into the community here. This car actually drives a little bit into it. This is what the community looks like. There's all walking trails and jogging trails here as well. So you can walk through the farmland and kind of jog around it. It's really beautiful. So your first view into the community is when they were building it. And you can't really drive too far in here, but you get a sense of it. And the pictures really show you what it's all about. But beautiful homes, elevated homes. They're all, fairly expensive though. This is pretty much entry level into this community, $1.5 million. But the amenities they have are absolutely stunning. So you get an idea of what the community looks like again from above, right along the river, and the amenities. So, we're talking amazing amenities. Pools here. This is a massive clubhouse, massive gym. These are like hotels where people can stay. If you have guests come in, they can rent rooms and stay in here. Just absolutely gorgeous. This is Kiowa level amenity without paying Kiowa prices. So if you want a lifestyle like this, you can get it on Johns Island. There's your cow, there's your farm, right? You can find that lifestyle here. It's definitely going to be a little bit more farmy, a little bit more laid back. If you have horses, there's areas, homes that you can buy for that. But this is the type of luxury living that you're going to get on Johns Island. That's the type of lifestyle. Now, if you wanted a golf luxury level, you can buy in Briars Creek. Briars Creek is a gated community located down here near Kiowa, and it's another absolutely gorgeous community here. And you can see the amenities. What are you paying for? You're paying for the space. You're paying for the amenities. You're paying for the location, right? Here's the clubhouse amenity, beautiful clubhouse. Here's your deep water dock, and here's your golf course, right? That's what you're paying for. If you need something that has 20 acres, Johns Island. You can't find 20 acres in Mount Pleasant. You're not going to find it in Daniel Island. You're not going to find it in Sullivan's Island. You're just not going to find it there. Maybe out in Awanda or something like that, sure. But a 20-acre estate, you can absolutely find it there with deep water access. It gets you on the Stono River. The house is beautiful, absolutely gorgeous. It's a very unique house, a little bit more modern, but a very stunning property. You can kind of see the surrounding here, right? It's beautiful. I love the pool they have out back here. But you can find this lifestyle out there, right? You might need a few $1 million to get it. You don't need 20 acres. You could find this house on 2 acres, and maybe it's only $3.5 million. But those homes are out there on Johns Island. As an example of the type of property out there. You're just going back to this map real quick here too. The actual island itself, is surrounded by the Stono River. So this is actually the intercoastal, right? So this waterway is the intercoastal waterway, and it connects to downtown Charleston Harbor. And if you're going to go up, you go up Isle of Palms, you're going through the intercoastal waterway. So that is the route that people travel up, north and south. And if you have a boat and you want to get into town, you can. So for example, if you're living on Johns Island and you have a boat, you can drop it in and go through town and come over and hang out at the beach over here, like No Name Beach is what they call it. It's right across from Fort Sumter at low tide. There's a bunch of people that hang out here. They bring their dogs, they grill food, they basically party out here. You can absolutely access that by going right through and coming up through the intercoastal. So if you do have a boat, it's something that you can do. A lot of people have their boats, they dry stack it and store it, something like that, and or they keep it at their house. But one thing to remember, a lot of HOAs over here, homes I showed you, HOAs, they're not going to allow you to keep a boat in your front yard. You'd have to buy something that's in a non-HOA. And if we just go back and look at what's actually on the market in Johns Island, just no bedrooms at all, no restrictions, detached homes. There's 151 homes for sale right now in this area. $325,000 or something like this, $340,000, for a little mobile home like that. But yeah, you can find a house for under $500,000. Get a nice little house here for under $500,000. But there's a ton of homes for sale right now. A lot of new construction, a lot of pre-owned as well. You can find a house out there for your needs. So, guys, I hope that gave you just kind of a general idea of what it's like to live on Johns Island. I'll put a video up at the end here. You can actually see a home tour I did recently. But if you have any questions, give me a call, text. Probably the easiest thing, just send me a text. Happy to answer any questions you may have about Johns Island or any of the other areas. So hope the video was helpful. Reach out if you have any questions, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.